Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. The Jalen Ramsey situation with the Miami Dolphins has taken on a life of its own, morphing from a quiet off-season cap maneuver into a slow-burning saga that's now capturing the attention of the NFL world. Back in April, when the Dolphins abruptly signaled they were planning to trade the all-pro cornerback, it wasn't just a football decision, it was a financial one. Everyone who's been around this league long enough knows that June 1st is the magic date when it comes to splitting dead money and maximizing cap space. So the assumption across the board was simple: nothing would happen until after that date. But here we are, more than 2 weeks past June 1st, and Jalen Ramsey is still a Miami Dolphin. No new developments, no blockbuster trades, just silence. And in the NFL, when there's this much quiet around a player of Ramsey's caliber, it usually means things are far messier behind the scenes than anyone is letting on. So the big question now becomes, when exactly will the Dolphins pull the trigger and move Jalen Ramsey? Because right now, the team seems stuck in purgatory. They've already made it clear this isn't just a casual look around the league moment. This isn't, "we're just exploring options." No, this is definitive. Miami has ended the relationship, publicly and privately. Ramsey, once seen as a cornerstone of their defense, is no longer in the team's long-term plans. But you can't complete a trade without a dance partner, and right now, only one team has even poked their head into the room: the Los Angeles Rams, Ramsey's old squad, the team where he once was the heart of a Super Bowl-caliber defense. Head coach Sean McVay has acknowledged the mutual interest, but he didn't sugarcoat it either. He says there are some obstacles to getting a deal done, and when a coach goes on record like that, you know it's not just about football. It's about money, control, and leverage. The problem is, without more than one team involved, the Dolphins don't have any real negotiating power. And that's a dangerous place to be when trying to move a high-profile, high-salary player like Ramsey. The Rams can lowball, knowing no one else is bidding, and Miami, well, they either take the offer or hold onto a disgruntled veteran with a hefty paycheck. That's why the Dolphins may decide to wait this thing out, because in the NFL, timing is everything. You wait for training camp. You wait for the inevitable injury to a top cornerback on a contending team. You wait for desperation to kick in. That's when offers start getting sweeter. That's when general managers start picking up the phone in panic. It's risky, sure, but it's the only card Miami has left to play. They just better hope Ramsey is willing to sit tight. But let's be real, training camp changes everything. It's one thing to keep Ramsey off the field during the spring, but what happens when players report and the media spotlight intensifies? What happens when cameras are rolling and every move is scrutinized? If Ramsey shows up, and he has every right to do so, the Dolphins can't legally keep him away. He could be in team meetings, he could be on the practice field, he could be doing interviews. And the distraction, it would be massive. This isn't a mid-tier veteran we're talking about. This is a star, an outspoken, media-savvy, headline-generating machine. His mere presence in camp, without a clear role or future with the team, would dominate every press conference. It's the kind of circus Miami can't afford as they try to build momentum heading into a pivotal season. So what's the alternative? Well, the Dolphins might have to pay him to stay home. It sounds wild, but it wouldn't be unprecedented. Think back to 2021 and the Houston Texans. That season, they were caught in a similar bind with quarterback Deshaun Watson. Legal troubles aside, Watson didn't want to play for Houston, and the Texans didn't want him on the field. But a trade never materialized before the season started. So what did they do? They paid him every week millions of dollars just to keep him away from the team. And while it seemed absurd at the time, it eventually paid off. In 2022, they shipped him to Cleveland in one of the most lucrative trades in recent memory. Draft picks galore, a total franchise reset. That move set the precedent. Sometimes paying a player to sit is an investment in future returns. The difference here, though, is Miami's unlikely to get a Watson-type return for Ramsey. He's older, he's expensive, and while still talented, he's not at his peak. Any GM who's thinking long-term knows that. That means if the Dolphins decide to eat the cost and wait out the market, they better be realistic about what they're getting back. This isn't about maximizing draft capital. This is about minimizing drama, preserving locker room chemistry, moving on from a guy who, for better or worse, just doesn't fit anymore. And that's where the gamble gets even tougher, because every week they wait, that cap number gets heavier. that money starts stacking, and all the while, Ramsey is just hanging in limbo, watching it unfold from the sidelines figuratively and, maybe, literally. It's also worth asking why things deteriorated this quickly. Ramsey wasn't a long-time Dolphin. He came in with hype, with leadership credentials, and with a reputation for being an alpha on defense, but something shifted. Was it internal drama? Was it philosophical differences with the coaching staff? Or was it purely a money move, one the team knew they'd make the second they realized they were tight against the cap? Whatever the reason, the decision has already been made. The bridge is burned, and now the Dolphins are stuck trying to clean up the ash without letting the rest of the locker room inhale the smoke. That's a tough balance to strike, especially when you're working under the intense microscope of a South Florida sports market, hungry for a deep playoff run. And don't forget, there's always the wildcard factor: injuries, suspensions, surprise retirements. All it takes is one domino to fall, and suddenly Ramsey becomes a hot commodity again. Let's say a contending team loses their top corner in late July, or maybe a front office reevaluates its depth chart and realizes they need a veteran presence to lock down one side of the field. That's when Miami's phone might finally ring with a serious offer, and at that point, the front office will need to be ready to act quickly, because every day this drags on, the media noise grows louder, the fan frustration mounts, and the locker room questions start bubbling beneath the surface. At some point, you have to rip the Band-Aid off. Until then, the Dolphins are playing a waiting game, and it's a costly one. Ramsey's cap hit isn't just a number, it's a statement. A reminder that this team is in flux, that hard decisions are being made behind closed doors, that nothing is certain, not even for a player with all-pro talent and a resume that speaks for itself. The longer this stretches, the more it resembles a standoff. Ramsey holds some cards, but the Dolphins still hold the contract. And unless a miracle trade partner appears out of thin air, we might be looking at a drawn-out standoff with no real winners, just a long, slow march toward a conclusion that everyone knows is inevitable but no one seems able to reach. For fans, it's frustrating. For the front office, it's strategic. And for Ramsey, it's limbo. He can train, he can tweet, he can show up to workouts if he wants, but until that trade call comes in, he's a Dolphin in name only, just like Deshaun Watson once was a Texan in name only. The parallels are eerie, but the ending might be very different, because unlike Houston, Miami doesn't have a haul of picks coming. They just have a clock ticking and a payroll bleeding. And unless the Rams or someone else steps up soon, that clock will keep ticking all the way into September, maybe beyond. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments, what's your take on the Fins this week? Alright, folks, buckle up because the NFL rumor mill might be spinning faster than ever. Word on the street is that Tyreek Hill, the electrifying wide receiver currently dazzling for the Miami Dolphins, could be on the move. Yes, you heard that right. There's chatter about a blockbuster trade sending Hill straight to the New England Patriots. But here's where it gets juicy. The Dolphins reportedly wouldn't just let Hill go for free. The Patriots might be handing over Gonzalez, their promising cornerback, along with the first-round draft picks to Miami in exchange. Imagine that: Hill in New England, Gonzalez in Miami, and those precious picks changing hands. It's a whirlwind scenario that's got fans and analysts buzzing. Now, let's unpack why this rumor has legs. Tyreek Hill's impact on the Dolphins has been undeniable. His speed and playmaking ability electrify every game, but the Dolphins, eyeing long-term roster balance, might see Gonzalez as a cornerstone for their defense. Gonzalez, a young and talented cornerback, has been turning heads in New England with his lockdown coverage skills. Pairing him with two first-round picks could set Miami up for a rebuild, or a significant talent infusion, possibly balancing out the loss of a star receiver like Hill. It's a bold move, one that screams high risk and potentially high reward. From the Patriots' perspective, this potential trade makes a ton of sense too. Bill Belichick and his front office have long sought explosive offensive weapons to breathe new life into their passing game. Adding Tyreek Hill, a game changer, could transform their offense overnight. Hill's speed stretches defenses and opens the field for other receivers, making him a perfect fit in New England's evolving offensive scheme. Giving up Gonzalez is tough, but if they believe Hill can be the missing piece to get them back to the playoffs, it's a price they might be willing to pay. Plus, trading away those first-round picks, that's a gamble, but sometimes you gotta bet big to win big. Of course, This whole trade talks bubble is still very much a rumor at this point, nothing confirmed yet. But you have to consider the timing. With the offseason heating up and teams looking to make splashy moves, both Miami and New England have needs that this trade could address, which makes the speculation all the more believable. Fans on both sides are already debating the pros and cons, and social media is lighting up with hot takes and reaction videos. If this deal goes down, it would definitely shake up the landscape of the AFC East, adding even more fire to one of the NFL's fiercest rivalries. Another angle to consider is how Tyreek Hill's arrival would affect the Patriots' locker room dynamics. New England has been rebuilding their receiving corps for a while, and Hill's presence could be a huge morale boost. His elite playmaking skills might also draw more attention from defenses, potentially opening opportunities for other Patriots players to shine. On the flip side, Gonzalez heading to Miami could accelerate the Dolphins' defensive improvement, especially in their secondary, which has shown flashes but still needs consistency. It's a classic trade of offense for defense, speed for coverage, with draft capital as the currency balancing the scales. There's also the contract situation lurking beneath the surface. Hill is a high-profile player with a substantial contract, and the Patriots would need to navigate salary cap implications carefully. Could the Dolphins be offering salary relief in this trade? Possibly. That's another reason why this deal, if real, is more complicated than just swapping talent. Front offices are notorious for weaving intricate financial plans into these blockbuster deals, and the coming weeks will likely reveal whether both teams can make the numbers work. If not, the rumor might just stay that, a tantalizing what-if scenario. Let's not forget how this rumor plays into the draft strategies of both franchises. Miami getting the first-round picks could be a game-changer in terms of talent acquisition. Whether they use those picks to shore up the offensive line, add defensive studs, or draft a future quarterback, those selections carry enormous potential. For New England, losing to first-rounders means they are betting heavily on proven talent over rookie development, a clear sign of urgency in their rebuilding timeline. It's a bold stance that could either catapult them back to contention or leave them struggling. If Hill doesn't fit as expected, the fan reactions, meanwhile, are already split down the middle. Dolphins fans, while sad to lose a player of Hill's caliber, might be excited about the defensive upside and future draft assets. Patriots fans are dreaming of highlight reel plays and playoff runs fueled by Hill's dynamism. However, some skeptics question whether this trade benefits either team enough to justify the risk. It's the kind of scenario that sets the stage for heated debates, deep dives from analysts, and plenty of what-if discussions that will keep sports talk buzzing for months. Looking at the broader NFL picture, a trade like this would be a major headline grabber. It signals aggressive moves from the franchises with very different needs, but a shared desire to rise above the competition. The ripple effects could influence other teams' trade strategies and draft plans, especially those in the AFC East and beyond. It's the kind of shakeup that makes the offseason must-watch TV for football fans everywhere. And even if it doesn't happen, the speculation itself fuels the excitement and anticipation leading up to the new season. In the end, whether this trade actually comes to fruition or remains just a tantalizing rumor, it's clear that Tyreek Hill's name will be at the center of off-season chatter. The possibility of him switching from the Dolphins to the Patriots has fans dreaming, debating, and analyzing every angle. Gonzalez heading to Miami and to first-round picks swapping hands only adds layers of intrigue to an already electric scenario as the NFL offseason unfolds. Keep your ears open and your eyes glued to the news. This story could develop into one of the biggest moves of the year, or it might simply be a tantalizing what could have been. Either way, it's a saga that's already got the football world buzzing hard. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.